let's try to tackle this problem together. Make sure to read the following problem on the right. Once completed, make sure to unpause the video. So pause the video now. Okay, now that you're done reading the problem, let's take a look at a couple of tips or tricks. The first thing that I want to point out is the really large numbers, 83, 203. These numbers seem rather large, and that is to throw you off because you won't be as tempted based on the fact that the earlier numbers are smaller to utilize your graphing calculator. Please note that whenever you see a problem and there tends to be a large set of numbers, this should be a big hint to you that either this is a theoretical problem or something that revolves around using some sort of calculator. The second thing that I want to point out before actually solving the problem is that the question actually states that this is a system of equations problem, but that might not always be the case where they give you that topic in a straight question form. So I'm going to point out a couple of things to take a look at or remind you that this is a systems of equation if they don't give you that. The first thing I want to note is that there is more than one equation. In this case, there are two separate equations. This is a big hint to you that this is a system of equations problem. The other thing you want to note is more than one variable. In this case, they have variable x and y, and they tell you that in the question too. But I just want to point that out as well to let you lean towards the understanding that this is a system of equations problem. The next thing that I want to note is that this is an open-ended question, but a problem like this can be seen as a multiple choice question. And if that's the case, I want to point out a couple of things. First of all, let's say that they gave you answer choice A, B, C, and D. Well, oftentimes, because this is a large problem, students tend to solve for the solution or the point of intersection, x comma y, and think that that's what they're looking for, when in fact, in the question, they don't ask for that, but they ask for a different value. In this problem, they're looking for 7 times 3x plus 1, meaning that at some point, you'll have to plug in the value of x into this equation. I want to point out that oftentimes students solve for x and y and think that's the answer. Therefore, for example, let's say that hypothetically, not that this is the correct answer, x was 1 and y was 2. And let's say that the correct answer was, I don't know, 1,000 per se. They'll point out 1, 2, 1,000. Usually it's in numerical order, and then maybe like 10,000. But let's just say that this is the case for this hypothetical multiple choice question. Your eyes are immediately drawn to answer choice A and D. This is just a psychological tactic because you think to yourself that, okay, I found the answer. Voila, I found it. It must be 1 or 2 because I solved for the system of equations. Be careful with this. This is a trap multiple choice question. Make sure that you're solving what's being asked of you, even though it might seem like a simple problem. Okay, now let's go back to the problem now that I went through those tips and tricks. In this case, we're trying to solve for the system of equation, but making sure that we plug into the value 7 times 3x plus 1. And we have two equations. We can find the actual x and y by plugging it into our desmos calculator and finding the point of intersection, which is what I'm going to do right now. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and plug in that first equation. So I have parentheses 3x plus 1 minus 2 times y minus 4 equals 83. I'm going to go ahead and type it again just so that way you can see what I typed in. Please note that I am typing it on my keyboard. So I just want to note that there. Once that is graphed, you can see the line here. You might want to zoom out, especially if it's a large number, just because you're going to note that more than likely in this case, the value is going to be fairly large as the point of intersection. Okay, now I'm going to go ahead and plug in that second equation. I'm going to type in 3x plus 1 plus 5 times 2y minus 4 equals 2 and 3. So that's the second equation here. Now I'm going to go ahead and type in to see where my point of intersection is, zooming in and out to see where that point of intersection is. So that point of intersection is 47.333, comma 8. Okay, so our X value in this case is 47.333. So this would be, if this was a multiple choice question, a common incorrect answer. So I want to point that out. Now they're asking for 7 times 3x plus 1, which means that we have to plug in this x value, 47.333, into this equation to solve. And you can use the regular scientific calculator to go ahead and solve. In this case, I went ahead and typed it in. So I have 7 times 3 times 47.333 plus 1. In other words, I plugged in the value of x here. Please note that I kept the parentheses in here. I want to point that out because that could throw your answer off, especially if you're using your handheld calculator. So in this case, once I plugged it in properly, I went ahead and got this number here. So be careful because you cannot just type in 1000.993 into the box that is provided for the exam. There are a couple rules that you need to note for the digital SAT that do come up, especially for student produced responses. And one of them is associated with decimals. If the answer is a decimal that is too long, which means that it's over 5 characters, in this case, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 characters, we have to go ahead and truncate it or round it to the 4th digit. So this is another rule that's changed for the digital SAT, and that's why I wanted to point out this problem. So in this case, even though I plugged it in, this needs to be rounded to 4 digits. So the correct answer would be 1, 0, 0, because the decimal 9 is greater than 5. I want to round it to the greatest whole number for the 4th character, and that's going to be 1. So our final answer is going to be 1, 0, 0, 1. So that's our final answer. I hope this helps to solve problems and helps you better understand system of equations. If you like problems like these, please make sure to subscribe because we'll be posting more videos throughout the season of the new year, especially with questions related to how to solve problems related with desmos and how to solve them faster. Thank you, guys. If you're looking for free or paid material, make sure to explore our link tree and hit that subscribe button. If you're looking for free or paid material, make sure to explore our link tree and hit that subscribe button.